Samantha Bee, you host Full Frontal on TBS, and I'd like to actually start just on a somewhat more serious note, just saying that your show on Monday night about Orlando was the first that I personally felt spoke to exactly the anger of where I'm at with regard to gun violence right now. The shooting happened on Sunday morning, and your show was on Monday. How did you go about putting together that show so quickly?
Well, we have just have an amazing staff here. They're totally nimble. Everybody was obviously heartbroken, totally affected. It took nothing to get everybody on board with completely shifting the show and rebuilding the first act in the only way that we felt that it was possible to do our show. It was just a complete no-brainer for us to pivot to that.
Yeah, and, the moment early on in that first segment, I've watched that first segment twice now, and I'll probably watch it a couple more times before the week is over, just because it's like therapy for me at this point. But when you say like, is it okay if I just scream for 7 straight minutes? I was just telling the screen, yeah, that's cool. I'm cool with that. It was.
Well, I mean, you know, we're just so angry. We are exhausted. We need to make a change. We need to do something now. It's fine to feel our feelings, for sure. We have to feel our feelings. And we are not trying to make this story about us and our reaction. We would like us to assemble all of our energy and put it out toward, toward the families of the people who were killed, toward, advancing the message that we are just not having this anymore. This cannot happen. We cannot have to do a show like this again. You never, ever want to have to start a show like that again. And what it's going to take is all of us holding on to that ember of anger and just letting it burn and not getting lazy about it. We have to stop being lazy about it. We have to stop letting people tell us what we're doing. We have to tell them what we're doing next. That's how it's just, there really aren't any words. Well, there are too many words, actually. There are a lot of words.
Are you encouraged at all by, recently, yesterday, the Senate Democrats filibustered until, I think they finally kind of.
Yeah, we live tweeted the filibuster. It was great. It was great. It was a moment. It was like for all of us, we're such geeks here. It was like perfect. We had like popcorn. We're glad to see it. Of course, we need more of those. We need more of this. We need to sustain this. Now we have this, now we have a nation of people. We need to stand up now. We all need to stand up. We all need to stand together and stop paying lip service to this terrible situation.
Monday night show highlighted something that's been a big strength of the show from the beginning, which is the level of research that goes into every episode. The comedy is informed by actual information. What is that research process from week to week on the show?
Oh, we have such a great research team. They're incredible, and they're completely committed to the process. I mean, our writers and researchers are incredible. Like the staff that we have built is so dedicated, and they're really passionate. And I think what another quality that they have, if I can say, is we're all very curious here. Like if there's an opportunity for us as a group to learn something new, it's the most exciting thing ever. We're all nerds. This is a straight up office full of nerds, which is fruitful for us. We get to go down all of these little rabbit holes. It's great.
A lot of talk shows, when they're starting out, they take a while to find their stride. But this one felt like, or at least to me, like it was pretty fully formed from the very first episode. How did you decide on the format for the show?
It was a conversation that we had continuously for about 6 months, I would say. We thought about it and thought about it and thought about it. And then we just started doing it. I mean, I can't really explain it. It's not like we ever sat down and went, okay, from minute 1 to minute 7, we're going to do this, and then there's going to be a commercial break, and then this segment will be this. I mean, we did think that we would play around with the form. We want to continue to give ourselves the freedom to play with the form a little bit, and I think we will do that for sure. So it's really nothing is really set in stone on the show. It's sort of followed a path in a way that's been fruitful for us, but that's not to say we wouldn't blow it up at any minute and do it completely differently. Yeah, it's hard to know what a show like this is it's so different from scripted in the sense that, you really don't know what the show is going to feel like fully. You really just have no idea until you bring people into your studio and there's so much unknown stuff. You can't watch dailies of yourself. You can't re-script things. There's no time. So you build this set and you build ideas for things. But when it's a topical show, you're really, you depend on the news cycle to give you something. You need something that lives in the world. So that's a bit, you can't really predict what that's going to be. And then you bring in an audience, and that's really the only point where you exactly know what it's going to look like. And then you present it to the world and you go, this is what we think. What do you think? It's a pretty experimental thing, the first and second show of a show like this.
As you mentioned, current events are a big part of what goes into the topics you cover. But it's a weekly show with it's just 30 minutes, and there's a lot of current events, especially this season, for you to cover. So how do you decide what the show's focus is in each episode? What goes into that?
Well, one thing that we thought that it would be difficult because our show airs on Monday night, and we worried about that a little bit because the news of the news of the week hasn't really happened yet, so you don't really, we sort of thought it would tie our hands a little. What it gave us is an opportunity to do a show on Monday, but then to watch how news unfolds over the course of the rest of the week. We don't have to have as many hot takes on the show. We can sit back a little bit. We can watch stories emerge. We get to see patterns. We have the luxury of time to watch the stories that are emerging in a way that's really interesting to us. And then we have the time to put that together in a more analytical way for Monday. So we're not responding to the news on a daily basis, but that's a good thing. That's a good thing for us.
After having the
sorry.
And you've done the show for a few months now. Has anything changed or refined in how you and the rest of the staff approach it?
Well, we're a lot more relaxed now, which is really good. We're definitely, it's Fry. You're so, it's just it's so unpredictable how people receive a show. So now that we know it's out there, now we're just enjoying the process. Now we're just letting our imaginations go. Now we're getting to research stories that really tickle our fancy. I mean, in a nerdy way, we have a little bit more freedom because we're a little bit more free, if that makes any sense. It's a lot more pleasurable to do 14 shows in than the first 2. Those are fun too, and they're really good, and they're really exciting. But actually, it's so much more fun when you're in a rhythm. Now that's really nice.
TBS has ordered enough new episodes of the show that will take you through this presidential election. Does that fill you with excitement, dread, or both?
Both. Excitement that we have shows, dread for the conventions. No, if nothing else, it's a lively election season, and it's been it's been great for us. It's been all of this chaos. It has been a godsend for us. We don't wish it on the country at all, but it has been an effective way to launch a brand new topical comedy show.
Before Full Frontal, of course, you spent more than a decade on another topical comedy show, The Daily Show, as a correspondent. After spending so much time there, what was it like to say goodbye to that show after all that time?
It was actually great. It actually was great. It was, when I left, it was the right time for me to leave. It felt I felt like I had come full circle. I felt like that I had achieved what I needed to achieve there. I felt like there was nothing more for me to do there. So it was like really sticking the landing. You know what I mean? When I did the goodbye show, I was really emotional. It was hard for me to leave emotionally, but it was 100% the right thing to do, exactly what I did it. So I walked away with no regrets. I left it all on the floor. I walked away. The timing was great, and I was very happy. Yeah, very, very happy. I left on a high note for myself.
The Emmys are coming up soon, and last year we saw Inside Amy Schumer win for sketch comedy, but I don't think a female-hosted talk show has ever won in prime time. Why do you think that area has stayed so male for so long?
I don't really know. I get asked that question a lot, but I do not have a good answer for it. I really need to think of a good answer for it. Honest to God, I really don't know. I don't know. I wish I had the answer.
Well, I have a theory, which is just because I mean, in the last 5 years, 5 or 6 years, we've seen more turnover in late night TV than we've seen in the previous 20. You know, from Conan O'Brien and the Tonight Show, and then Jimmy Fallon, and Seth Meyers, and everything is moving in a way that it hadn't. Like people were fit, yeah, in their spots for like 20 years at a time. That might be why the sort of the curve is a little bit slower on that one.
Took a loofah. We got a loofah out, and we're sloughing it all off, starting fresh. Got a nice new crop of fresh pink skin under there.
Now, you do a recurring online segment where you read negative online comments and you try to determine whether they're real or fake,
Yep.
which seems like as healthy a way to deal with those as any other way. You know, when I see an online comment, my first impression is to hide until it goes away. How much do you engage with those kinds of responses?
I don't engage with them at all. In fact, when we do the real or fake segment, I don't even read them. Like I don't read them before we do it. So I just flip them over at the last second, like it's a final exam. You know what I mean? And then I just read them cold because I don't read comments. I mean, it's the most. I find it emotionally paralyzing to read horrible comments about myself. In the context of real or fake, it's totally fine because they do pick the funniest ones, in my opinion. But I would never expose myself to that. I just don't know how you could. I don't know why people do expose themselves to that. I don't know why you would bother with it. It's not really helpful. It's not really helpful. Don't do it. Don't read anything. It's so much better not to know. I live in ignorant bliss.
Yeah, I feel like it's sort of this double-edged sword because on the one hand, the internet has become such a wonderful place to engage communities and to engage with fans and stuff like that. But yet
It's so nice and direct with people who are nice. With fans, it's lovely. Your interaction can be so positive and you can feel so great. But I'm sure you feel this way too. You can read 10 nice things about yourself, and then the 11th thing will shake you to your core. And then you only think about that one thing that someone was so negative and hateful. So it's not fruitful. Unfortunately, it also limits your access to like the nice things people want to say. But it's kind of the cost of doing things. You just can't. It's soul crushing. Oh. I just don't think that I have personally ever gone online and said those things to another human being. It's fine. To each his own. Whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, I definitely know the feeling. Like we do these interviews online and we have them on YouTube, and I'll see sometimes it'll be like 500 thumbs up, and then I'll see 2 thumbs down, and I'm like, who are you?
What's your deal? And then you're just obsessed with those 2 people. Go back in their timeline. You know what I mean? And you can learn a lot about them. You're like, oh, you're a teacher in Kansas, and you think I should be run over by a bus. Okay, that's interesting. You seem quite unhinged for a teacher, but all right.
Yeah, they should do the MTV Catfish show. They should do that just for like online trolls, where you get to investigate them.
Oh yeah. Oh, I think you just thought of an award-winning. I think you just thought of a show idea that you need to go out and pitch.
Yeah. Well, if anyone tries to steal it from me, these videos are time stamped, so I will expect compensation or producer credit.
Trademarked by you. Take it out to the town.
You've done on the show a lot of interesting interviews, including recently, Libertarian nominee for president, Gary Johnson, and you've talked.
Oh, Gary is fantastic. He's a wonderful person. He was so great. He was lovely.
And he seemed wonderful, and it's so surprising, some of these interviews, like, you talk to the Trump supporters and you talk to Sanders supporters, and has there been anyone you've talked to who was especially surprising or galling to you?
I haven't really talked to anybody on at this show who has been particularly galling. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people who I fundamentally disagree with, and we've had feisty conversations with each other, and I would say we've even argued, but the one thing they were always, they were civil conversations, and that's important to me. I will have a lively conversation with anybody as long as we can keep it. I like to keep it civil. I like to make it pleasant. I actually like it to be a pleasant experience. I feel like you can really not agree with people and you can still shake hands and you can have a coffee together. I mean, that's how we could function like that. That is how things actually do get done, in my opinion.
In addition to Full Frontal this season, you also co-created and produced The Detour along with your husband, Jason Jones, which is also on TBS. Was it challenging to balance two shows, especially two shows that were just starting out?
Totally. I mean, yes, of course. I mean, I think, TBS is definitely in the Sam Bee, Jason Jones business. There's no question. But yeah, it was really, from a time management perspective, it's challenging but I think we're still figuring it out. We just finished season one. I mean, season one just finished airing at the Detour. So now season 2 is just getting up and rolling. And this show is continuous. So balancing that, I think we haven't quite figured it out. To be honest with you, we haven't quite figured it out yet. We're still like, okay, so we get a babysitter for our kids because you're going to be here and I'm going to be here. So we need to have some grandparents come to town to take our kids. It's very much about time management for our family too. We think a lot about that.
Are there any upcoming topics on Full Frontal that you're working on that you can tell us about, or anything you can
yeah, we're working on it. We have a show next Monday, so we're diligently trying to figure out what's going to be on the show. I know one thing that's going to be on the show for sure, and then beyond that, we have a pretty good idea of what's going to be on the show on Monday, but Monday's a whole 4 days away, so anything could happen.
Oh yes, yeah. Who knows what Trump will say about anything tomorrow?
Imagine what he could say for 45 minutes from now. Who knows?
Or is saying right now.
Or is saying literally right now as we speak. We're going to get off this interview and go, oh my God. Oh.
I should have had another window open, just seeing if he's
just to keep a constant
about Mexicans or Muslims or just to keep tabs on that.
Exactly. Just to keep your eyes. Yeah.
I want to congratulate you on Full Frontal and The Detour, and best of luck at the Emmys. I'm definitely rooting for especially Full Frontal to break through, to have a different voice suddenly in the talk show arena.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. So nice to talk to you.